Smash Melee, the over 20-year-old fighting game that still has a presence, the complete accident of a technically challenging masterpiece, and the most effective way to break your hands in record time. I've been a pretty big fan of the game for a few years now, and I've even dabbled in giving it a go here and there. But I've always run back to the excuse that the skill ceiling is too high for me to give it a proper go. That and the fact that no actual tournaments of the game happen anywhere near where I live. There was that one time where a pretty major tournament happened in Sydney, but I'm a whole state away from there and I was 16, so there was no way of going on my own, and I wasn't about to drag my parents across the country to play video games. So, I had accepted my fate. I would never get the chance to play in a big Smash tournament, so I would never have the motivation to try. Well, that was until 6 months ago when I was randomly scrolling through Twitter and... Wait, Melbourne? I can get there! Immediately after finding out about this, I downloaded the game. Having only played Melee a few times prior to this, I wanted to make it as easy as possible for myself to get good within the 6-month time frame I had before the event. And to accommodate this, I decided to play Marth, a notoriously good character for beginners with an extended range compared to other high tiers such as Fox, Falco, or Peach, as well as his difficulty of execution being much lower than most of the cast. He has a sword, and you swing it at people. Pretty simple. So when I started playing, I was using Marth. I did find myself getting better at him over the first week or so as I was becoming more familiar with his moveset and what moves were useful where. However, the more familiar I got with the character, the more I started to realize that his playstyle was not for me. While I was getting better, I wasn't enjoying the process of improving. This led me to start trying out some other characters, the main three being Captain Falcon, Jigglypuff, and Falco. I enjoyed Captain Falcon for his speed of play and combo potential, however I usually found myself struggling to play any kind of proper defense with him. And with Jigglypuff, I already had an understanding of the character from my experience playing Smash Ultimate, but ultimately that led me to play worse with her because of my muscle memory from that game. Which only leaves Falco. And Falco? Well, Falco was perfect. He had that speed of play and combo potential I enjoyed with Captain Falcon. His laser is arguably the best projectile in the game. He has a shine that has a frame 1 hitbox. And most importantly, he's fun as fuck. I knew this was the character that I enjoyed the most, and I knew this was the character that I wanted to play. The only problem with this is that now I have to go completely against the logic I had while picking Marth, because Falco is hard as fuck. I would need to focus a lot of my practice into learning this game's tech. Wave dashing, L cancelling, teching, something as simple as successfully attacking on shield, all of it. And lucky for me, there are much more resources when it comes to learning now than there were when the game came out over 20 years ago. Which is why, after switching to Falco, I decided to download Uncle Punch. Uncle Punch is the melee training mod. Designed by the modder Uncle Punch, this training pack gives you a wide variety of modes to learn or practice your tech skill in, and this mod was an absolute game changer when it came to improving. Before having access to these modes, I hadn't even tried learning how to do any of these techniques, but after not even 20 minutes of trying, I was somewhat consistently wave dashing. Emphasis on the somewhat. I would consistently keep trying to master both wave dashing and L cancelling though, and as a result of this consistent practice, it would take me only about a week before having movement that looked like this. And then not even a full week of practice after that, it was looking like this. Uncle Punch was clearly doing its job, and I was now fully invested into this game. I was also invested in a literal sense, as it was directly after this clip was recorded that I decided to put my money into a GameCube controller. I knew I'd be needing one for the event anyway, and I figured I should probably start practicing on the actual controller I'd be using as early as possible. Originally I was expecting that after the controller arrived and I started using it, that I'd be playing worse. And while that was the case initially, after an hour or so of using it, I started playing what felt like even better than I was with my Xbox controller. It just felt right. It felt like the right controller to be using. Which makes sense considering it literally is. Every single input felt more natural to pull off, which led to my entire speed of play increasing. And instead of getting completely stomped by my opponents, I found myself managing to escape from their hits way more often. And on top of this, I was applying pressure way more effectively. And don't get me wrong, I was still getting absolutely destroyed most of the time. but my improvements were becoming more and more noticeable. And as long as I would manage to maintain this pace of improvement, that was all that mattered. At this point, I'd been playing the game for 3 months, which meant I was halfway through the time I had to prepare for this tournament. It was at this point that I decided from here on out, I would attempt to make my play sessions as accurate to how they would be in person as possible. My reasoning behind this is that when I'm participating in anything competitive, it's best for me to maintain as similar of a mindset as possible to my practice. As an example, if I were to be playing with custom skins throughout my entire process of practicing, when I show up to the tournament, the entire game looking different would make me focus more on the fact that I'm competing, and in turn make me more stressed and less focused on playing well. So to combat this, from here on I would only allow myself to play the base game in 4x3. No matter how good widescreen anime looks, it was worth it for me to play more consistently. And after only about a week of using the exact same game file instead of switching between custom skins, I noticed that not only would this help me in the tournament, but the consistency by itself was improving my play even just online. I was playing better and better against players that I used to get absolutely dusted by. And trust me when I say there has never been another game I've played where your improvement feels even close to as rewarding as this one. The amount of patience and commitment that is required to improve makes that moment when you finally notice the work paying off feel incredible. Everything just finally clicks in a game that you're used to queuing into with the expectation of losing. And now that I wasn't losing every single game, I became absolutely hooked. I was just playing for hours and hours on end, almost every single day. Getting better, honing my craft, perfecting the game, and I broke my controller. Turns out using it too much does that. My left trigger had jammed itself completely down and I could not get it out no matter what I tried. It was as if it had welded itself to the controller. And while I could have switched to using my right trigger, that would mean my right hand would be doing every single input except for using the stick. And I don't know about you, but I am not the biggest arthritis fan. So I would need to get a new controller, and while I had been considering this throughout my time playing, I never had a good excuse to do it. But considering my circumstances, I took it as the right time. 2 words. Custom controller. 2 more words. In debt. When looking for a custom GameCube controller, firstly, don't be in Australia. But since that wasn't an option for me, I figured the next best solution was to find one on Etsy. When looking for one here, you'll see it actually costs you $150, which is a crazy amount to pay for an over 20-year-old controller in general, but I can see where the cost comes from. It's modded, which takes time, and GameCube controllers aren't the most common thing in the world to come across. So I guess I'll pay $150. Oh. Turns out for anything decent, you'll have to pay double that. But you know what? At the end of the day, I guess that's fine. I probably could pay $70 for a new basic controller instead, but I'm not here to be financially responsible. I'm here to win. So fine. Take my $300. Oh, for fuck's sake. It's over $100 for shipping. In the time it took me to go from the advertised price to the cart, the price doubled itself. Almost twice. You know what? You'd have to be legitimately stupid to go through with buying this. I don't know what I was thinking. There's no universe I would ever waste that much money on a controller. Oh, god damn it. Look, in my defense, the Z button clicks. As much as it might just seem silly, frankly, to have bought this, it 100% made me want to practice more and enjoy the game more as a whole. The gameplay felt smooth. As a result, I didn't want to put it down. And from this point on, leading up to the tournament, I didn't. I might have had 2 or 3 days max where I wasn't playing, but other than that, I would always be putting at least 1 hour of my time into getting better a day. Day in, day out, practicing, playing, and before I knew it, I was booking the hotel as the tournament was only a couple of days away.
After arriving at the venue, I immediately laid my eyes onto
The most beautiful TV I have ever seen. I would be lying if I said I didn't consider stealing it. Please, whoever has this, get in contact with me, I want it. Since we had a fair amount of time to kill after arriving at the venue before my set started, I decided to have my 2 friends that came with me try the game.
How do I dodge? Help me! How do I dodge?
And since they picked it up so quickly, I decided to have them verse each other.
Yeah, I only brought one controller.
After I did some warming up for my first match, we decided to walk around for a bit and actually ended up running into this guy, and this guy, all from the yard.
We also ran into Chad from fucking Cold Ones? I'm as confused as you are. He was actually very chill and nice. When I said that I liked the alcoholic drink he made, he said, yeah, the kids love it.
He allegedly said this. My friend also asked him to sign his bottle of body wash, to which he replied, why the fuck do you have body wash at a Smash tournament?
So now he has a bottle of Chad signed body wash. We also ran into the best Australian Melee player of all time, who is currently 11th in the whole world. Soon to be number 1, I say this because he signed my controller. Also, when we asked him if he had any tips to help me play better, he told me to drink, so you can tell he's the best Australian player.
I unfortunately didn't have enough time to go get drinks though, as it was finally time for my set. Nervous as hell, I walked up to the back of the room to find out who I'd be versing. I got paired up against my opponent, and I asked him one simple question. So when'd you start playing? 2015. 2015! Like 9 years ago, 2015. Like the same year as Watch Me Whip, Watch Me Nay Nay, and Just Do It 2015. Like the year that I turned 10, 2015. This guy has had 18 times the amount of time I have had to train for this. Don't get me wrong, I knew going into this that I'd be versing people who had more experience than me, but I wasn't expecting it to be almost a decade of advantage. Nevertheless, there was no backing out now, so all I could do was try. But we walked up to a setup, plugged our controllers in, picked and banned stages, and it was time. I started off the match extremely nervous, allowing him to take not only one, but 2 of my stocks away, essentially instantly. After this, however, I managed to sneak in a back air from the top platform, getting me my first kill. This was a short-lived victory, however, as he immediately followed up by taking another one of my lives. This then left me on 1 life. I had to focus. I managed to get a fair bit of damage in and threw out a nervous up smash, which ended up killing him, leaving him on 2 lives. If I were to have any chance of winning, I knew I had to kill him quick, otherwise he would get way too much of my percent up. So that's what I did. All of a sudden, each of us were on 1 life, which got me thinking, maybe I can win this. Maybe it doesn't matter that he started playing in 2015, maybe I can win. And it was thinking like that took my head out of the game, got me distracted, and led to me losing. Lucky these games are best of 3, so I'm not out yet. All I have to do is try as hard as I can and control my nerves, and I should be able to— What do you mean the game's already over? Yeah, he only died once on this one, and it was while winning the game. Alright, so I lost my first set, but you know what? That doesn't matter. You have to lose twice to get knocked out of these tournaments, so as long as I don't get put up against another 2015 player, I should be alright. I got put up against Goody. As in, the best player in Victoria, Goody. Not even just like the most recent ranking, like consistently the best in Victoria. Well, fuck me, I guess. The game starts, and after a bit of back and forth, Goody ends up taking the first kill. After this, she manages to get 30 on me before I hit her with this, which honestly, considering nerves, pretty cool kill. Unfortunately, she manages to kill me again while I only have 30% damage on her, leaving me at a major disadvantage. I do get lucky enough to kill her with a side B off stage though, which leaves us both at 2 lives. Except I'm above 100% damage, so I only have 1 life. She then unfortunately makes quick work out of my last life, which means I have lost the game. It's not looking good. I'm in a situation where I have to win 2 games in a row against the best player in my state in order to stay in the tournament. And I'm already down a stock in game 2. But you know what? That doesn't mean I can't try. I still have a chance, especially if she makes more mistakes like this. All I have to do— Oh, fuck off. Do you think you'd believe me if I told you that I clutched and won? Because I didn't. I didn't even get a kill. She only died to herself. So, I guess that's it. I'm out of the tournament. 6 months just to lose twice in a row. This was all just a big waste of time. Is what I would say if I was still mad from losing. But what I've come to realize since this has been all over is that none of my time was wasted. I got to go on a cool trip with my mates, meet a bunch of cool people I look up to, get fucked up in the city afterwards, and on top of it all, I got pretty good at this game that I've been a fan of for years. And while my tournament results might not show that, I think this will.
She got creme, 50 colors in the blue, I too high. Wanna get the number, tell you 212 line. Maybe we slumber, whoa, 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 why you don't do gay, but if you want to, fine. High fantasy could get that. that pitch black, cause it's gonna erupt if you slip in betwixt that black snatcher. Like the sack of black cat, eliminating when you miss that mustache at. I bet you been extra gas, bet you really wanna touch up on the last that. Bet you really wanna take up on the kiss that today, cause the kiss that's your shade. You wanna cuddle with your bitch at the A, but I gotta dip, I gotta get that the cake. Let us get like to make in the dick, don't fuck up any skill like for banks. No issues picking money over her hat, yeah, age enough. She just